Hello, my friends. John LaRuffa here with another straight up solo. And in this episode, we're going to look at Tianxia. I'm going to show it to you from a solo standpoint as usual, and then I'll let you know what I think. So let's get started. Okay, folks, and as usual, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. And if you haven't, really do appreciate the support. Thank you very much. So this is a medium weight Euro game that looks like it's got a lot going on because the board is sprawling and there's lots of stuff on the table. But it's pretty approachable, to be honest. What you've got going on in this game is that you have basically 4 tracks you're moving up, which in just like a lot of other Euro games, you'll score at the end of the game 7, 4, and 2 for whoever's highest. So there's a decent amount of points to get there. Plus, you'll get some bonuses along the way. That includes tiles, and that also includes some one-time bonuses that you can maybe activate again. For instance, if you have this ability right here. Then you have this area right here, which is the barges. This is where you get income from, and there's a little bit of a longer lasting situation too, where your merchants stay on the ship for round to round, and you get repeat income for them. Then over here, you've got the 7 provinces, and you're going to be using these action discs to take actions in the provinces. And when you move in there, you're going to be able to do any of the types of actions, each of them up to once, or as many or as few as you want, but you have to at least do one in that area, okay? And the actions are basically to do some kind of exchange where, for instance, in this case, up to 4 times, I can turn wood into these helmets, which I'll maybe be able to trade. Installing a governor, and the governor, the reason way you do that is you pay the cost up top here. And then if it's a red building, it'll give you an ongoing bonus for the rest of the game. And if it is a grayish black building, it'll give you an income during the income phase. And then there's also the action of shipping. So if you're on this side of the board, you can then ship. And to ship, you're basically trading or spending the specific type of good that's over here listed X many times, in this case 1, plus 2 of any other good to get whatever it says down there. And then you also put these little containers on there, marking slots in the ship, getting bonuses there. And if you fill up the ship, it'll go away at the end of the round. If not, everything moves up, and these 2 go away at the end of the round and replaces. And the ships are variable. You build them through these demand tiles. You have a huge stack here, and the bottom of the ships down here. So that's kind of cool. Also, from a variable standpoint, there are a ton of buildings that you randomly choose from to seed the board, and that includes income buildings and permanent abilities. But then on the top is where the angst and the pressure comes in, and that are these 4 regions that you will deal with the attacks from the Northerners. And you are spending a lot of effort to try to protect from that, because if they break through the defenses, you will start to have problems with your governors being wiped out, and you lose your board presence. And in the solo mode, if the opponent's governor is actually kicked off the board, you lose 3 points, which is no good. Plus, you score a ton of points for defending against all of these things. So the person who contributes the most defense to the situation gets 7 points per region when they attack. The second person gets 4. However, after the attack is over, whoever committed the most will also get 1 point for every governor that's still alive, and they'll get 1 point for every soldier that was removed. So there's a lot of points to be had defending this area. And that is pretty much the entirety of this game. Now, there's other Euro-style things too. There are objective cards that you can either spend right away for the goods, or you do these bottom conditions to get some kind of points. So for instance, this one says, if I have 1, 2, 3, or 4 governors in the Wei and the Chu province, I can get 2, 6, 11, and 17 points. And very similar things that you have come to know and understand about Euro games are represented in those contracts. Now, from a solo standpoint, or I should say this, the board is for the most part a placeholder just to hold your stuff. It's where you can put your different wall tiles and the towers and such, and it shows you the cost. It also has a spot for an initial income building, which you get, and some spots for these jade figurines, and the figurines will score you points for getting, it's a set collection, but you don't want to collect sets, you need to have different ones. Plus, when you pass, you can spend some coins to move up in these tracks too, depending on how many of these you have there. And these boards are variable, so each side has different rewards here. These become filled when you fill them with a merchant. Merchants happen when traders are pushed off the boat. They become merchants, and then as long as you remove it, when you filled up both spaces or the single space, you get to take that bonus action. And that is, I think, a pretty quick and dirty overview, but it gives you a full look, to be honest, about what's going on. Now, the way that the AI interacts is you are going to roll a dice during their turn, and if it's a 1, 2, 3, it's going to do this card. If it's a 4 or 5, it's going to do this card. If it's 6, it does this. And it does every action from top to bottom. And it's going to take up to 4 actions, and then it's going to pass on the 5th turn. But if you have a situation like this where it's the 3rd turn and you get to this spot, he would pass immediately and take any of the jade figures that may be here that it doesn't have. And the first person to pass will be the one who gets to go first in the in the turn order. Plus, when they pass, they don't have to pay for these things. They just get to move up. And I'm going to show you that right now because I just finished my passing turn, and I didn't do that after the war thing. I didn't do that, so I'm going to do it right now here. He gets to move 2 things wherever he's the lowest. And he has a priority there, which is shown on this little solo aid. So if there's ever a tie, you look at the bottom here and it tells you what you're supposed to do. Okay, so just to move up real quick here, the lowest one he's on right now is the white one. So he's going to move here to discard this. And then he's going to move again on the white one because it's still the lowest one. So that's what he's doing. Okay, so let's go ahead and just show you. This is the 4th and final round of the game. So I've had a lot go on already. Let's just give you a couple of actions to feel it out. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to reveal these bonus tiles. And these are what you get when you pass. Then we are going to do the draw and resolve a nomad attack card. Now I'm playing with the easy nomad stack, so it's not as punitive. But what it's going to show you here is it's going to show you how far the chieftains are going to move on the top row and in the 4 regions, and how much strength you're going to get. Plus, since it's the last turn, I'm going to move them 2 more spaces. So we're going to have a lot of attacks. So in order to resolve that, let me just do it real quickly here. So he's going to get 4 more strength over here, which puts him to 12. This is going to move up 3. 1, 2, 3. He is going to attack. This goes 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He is going to attack. Goes up 1. This goes 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This goes up 2. He's going to attack. And then here, so we're going to have an attack in all 4 regions. It's going to be pretty bloody. And I probably won't show you that whole thing. I'll demonstrate. I'll discuss it just because I don't want you to have to sit here and wait. This game does take a little bit of time to play. So after we do that, now we go to income. Now in income, I'm going to look at the barges. The AI never gets anything from an income standpoint, but I do. So I have 1 person here, so I get a rice, and I have 1 person here, so I get a wood. Now in a 2 or a 3 player or a solo game, where's wood? These neutral guys are going to come over and bump off people, and if it bumps off neutral, so what? No big deal. But it just moves things around a little faster, so really nothing happens. However, if it bumped off one of mine, I would have put it up here in this merchant spot to use, and if it bumps off one of him, he gets 3 points. Now we do the income for the buildings. I have this income right here, which means I just get a free merchant, and I'm going to put him right here since I know I'm going to need this spot. I'm definitely going to be contributing some soldiers up there, and that gives me a bonus when I do that. Other income buildings I have, I get 1 coin and 1 stone over here. So let's get the coin and the stone. And that's all I have from a governor standpoint out here for income. Okay, so he goes first. So he's going to roll. It's going to show a 4. He's going to place his first disc in the yan spot right there. And then he's going to move up on the black track 1 space to the 5th area. And, whoops, I'm looking the wrong one. Okay, and then he's going to place a governor in that spot. So governor will go to the cheapest building. There is only 1 building here. He's going to put it right here, and it just discards this tile. He doesn't get a bonus. Now, if it had been one of those jade figurines, he would have gotten it. Then he puts 2 soldiers in the place where this guy is the closest. The chieftains are the closest. Well, they're all the closest because they're all attacking. So he's going to contribute 2 to this area with the little tree showing, which is right here. So that's going to bump up the defense 2, 1, 2, to a total of 5, actually, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is where our defense line is right now. Then he's going to ship twice to the Yan ship, the top one, up here. And it's just going to block these spaces. And in his case, he's going to start over here. He doesn't get anything for that. He's just blocking me from doing it. And then he finally moves up 1 on the red. And then we discard this card and deal him a new one. Very simple to execute what he does. All of the icons are written right here. And the solo mode is very easy to actually just, well, execute. I guess I just said that, but it is very easy to execute. Okay. Now it comes to me. So I can do any of those actions I want, right? I could do the action while I put one in the regions. I can boost up the military, or I could do a trade. And, or I could pass, which I'm not going to pass. So I definitely need to contribute some soldiers. And you, for every 2 rice you contribute, you get 1 soldier. But I probably need to get some more rice if I want to make a real impact up there. So I'm looking around to see, are there any bonus tiles that get me rice? Are there any shipments that get me rice? This isn't a bad move. So if you go to a spot where he already is, you have to pay a coin. Or if you've already been there, you have to pay a coin. For every disc that's there, you have to pay. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to, because that is a soldier, I'm going to go ahead and put this here to go to, I guess it's maybe Qui? I don't know. And then it wants 2 helmets. Oh, shoot. I don't have that. Never mind. I already spent the helmets last turn. I need something. I can't do that. I guess I could go down to do this one. Give me some points. It's not the end of the world. So I'm going to go to Chu. All right. And in Chu, I can do 2 things. I can install a governor, which I'm going to. And I can also, or at least I think I'm going to. Yes. And then I can also ship. So I'm going to install a governor, and it costs me, usually it would be 2 wood, because I have a bonus out here where I can save a wood doing it. It's just 1 wood, and I put the governor down here, and I will take this bonus, which I can get right now, flip it over, and that gives me a free soldier up here, or wherever I want it. I actually don't want it there. I actually want it here, because I need to win the majority on some of these things. So that gets a single defense. Now, also I'm going to, and also this building. So what this says is whenever you do the hire soldiers action, I think I get 1 soldier and 1 rice for free. Make sure that each time you fortify, nope, that's not the right one. Is it the right one? No. Each time you train soldiers, gain rice and place 1 soldier in any wall section for free. And then you can use that. So that's good. That's going to help me. Now, I'm going to, since I was over here in Chu, I'm going to trade here. So it's any of these. It's just 3 of anything. Well, I happen to have 3 of these silk. So I'm going to do that. 3 silk. I put my shipping marker into Chu. And then I will get 1 coin and 5 points. And then I just mark off one of these spots. And I think I want a merchant. In fact, I know I want a merchant. So I get to place a free merchant over here. Now, the reason I'm doing this is just to get more rice. He falls off, so he gets 3 points, which he's already beating me pretty bad. But then I get my rice. Okay. And so that's my turn. I did as much as I could in that. I installed a governor and I shipped. All right. And then, oh, and I get to move up on the blue track. Don't forget that. We're going to roll for him. So it gives a 4 again, so he's going to do this. So now he is going to place his thing over here in the wall section. And he is going to then move 2 spaces on the one he's the lowest on. And he's the lowest on this one first. So he goes to 5. And then he goes in order here. And he will preferentially move up here. So those are the 2. Then he's going to place 1 wall. And he is going to place it in the spot that has the fewest amount of his wall. Well, I don't know if it's his walls or walls in general. Let's take a look. Fewest built walls of any color. So that means definitely here. And that's going to bump the defense up again. So now we're at 4. And then he is going to place one of his merchants on a boat where he has the fewest merchants, which would be this one. He bumps me off. And then I get to put my guy someplace over here. I'm going to put it probably on this 5 section. I don't know if maybe we'll do that. And then finally, if this was the 3rd turn he would pass, but it is not. Pretty simple. Okay, now I'm going to try to fortify, and I'm also going to spend this guy when I do it. So when I'm going to do this as a free action now, I can spend him, get a rice and a stone. I'm going to put this over here. And then, first, before I forget, I'm going to move up on this track here, and I'm going to get this token here, which will score me 5 points at the end. Then, because I'm doing this action, I get an immediate rice, and I get to place a free soldier. I need to contribute something to this. I'm not going to get any points, so I'll put them over here and bump that up. Now, I have enough for 1, 2, 3 more soldiers. So let's put those guys out in places that I'm going to try to get the majority here. And I think, so right now, if I count it, because towers are worth 2, that's 2, 3, 4 to his 4. So I want to put 1 more over here. And in fact, I might put both of them over here just to provide more defense, because I really don't want him to come down here and kill that guy. But I could also put it up here. No, I'm going to do this, because this means I have now 4. He has 3. So I think that's going to be the best move, at least at a glance. All right. And so I moved up on there. I paid that. We should be good. So you could see how it goes back and forth. Now, I'm not going to play any more turns. But what would happen if they did the attack is I would look at who contributes the most defense. We would score in the order of whoever did the most gets 7, second most gets 4. Then I would work down some of his attack based on the walls and the towers. Then I would start killing off the guards, and I would work down the attack strength again for 1. Each guard would drop it down 1, and you get 1 point for everyone that was killed. Then it would start to go to these areas and start to push the governor out and increase the cost of going back there. And if it pushes him out, I lose 3 points in the solo. But after it does that, it will then lose 3 more strength or 2 more strength as it goes down further. Once it finally runs out, then that's it. It stops attacking, and you basically will then reset it if it's the 4th round, but it's not, or it's before the 4th round. And then whoever contributed the most to the defense in the beginning will get 1 point for every governor that's left in the line. And that's basically what happens. And you do that for all the regions where there's going to be an attack. Now, at the end of the game, you're going to look for final scoring, which would be based on those tracks, be based on the different jade that you have. So he would score 10, I would score 15. And then you'd also see where you had any of these particular cards and score points for those, depending on the condition. And I don't think he scores for anything else. I'll just make sure, double check. No, there's no limit. The other thing is that usually you can only score 3 of these objective cards. In the solo game, there is no limit for how many you can score. And that is, I'm sure, a way to deal with the fact that he's going to score a lot of points in this game as it goes. So let me tell you what I think about it. So Tianxia, from my standpoint, is a very solid middleweight Euro offering. Very Euro in nature. very much like a game we've played before in certain ways, right? Um, there's not a ton of stuff here. There's nothing really new or novel about any of the concepts, and yet I really enjoy this game. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's almost when you look at it, you're like, oh, I'm not sure. Is that just going to be kind of a retread of what we've had? It is and it isn't. And the reason I say that is because so much of the game depends on maximizing what's available to you at the time. You have to understand where to focus on income, where and when to focus on income, where and when to focus on the specific buildings that'll give you benefits throughout the game. And those benefits add up. They make a very tight game. The resources in this game are extremely tight. They make a tight game possible to do more than you think you could. And the actions and the order that you do those actions is important too. You've got to think about, okay, I'm going to have a situation where it's always good to be first in some places because you get the best choices or the cheapest stuff, or you get in there before you have to pay the one coin or whatever. However, it might be worth risking a little bit to gain more resources before going there, especially with the actions for the fortifications and the soldiers, and that's a big deal. The other thing is that what's interesting about this game, especially with these soldiers attacking, is if you have some of those objective cards where they really rely on those governors being in locations. If things go poorly and you don't defend that location and those governors get wiped out, that's going to severely detract from your score in those objective cards. So that's also important. The tracks are nothing special. That's probably just like, I don't know, I would say kind of a boring aspect of any game like this. And I don't say boring because it doesn't work. It works just fine. It's just we've been there, done that. So there is an incentive to hurry up and get those bonuses and different things, but that's been done before. I think the biggest thing for me that makes this game enjoyable is the order of operations. You have to try to do stuff, and the tension of knowing an attack is imminent. What am I going to do to deal with that? How am I going to mitigate my losses? How much risk is there? So the other thing is that even if you don't have a lot of governors in that place, the benefits of being a good defender there's a lot of points to be had. And so that's a real important part. And I think this is going to be one of those games where you're going to be beaten by the AI a decent amount until you start to figure out how to stop those point swings. Because every time they defend better than you do, it's a big swing in their favor versus you. And so this game has a lot more of that going on versus incremental score here and then incremental score here. It's more like a lifting of different things as you score for those majorities. Whoever's scoring the most gets the most points, or contributing the most gets the most points, and the second most gets the second most points, etc. So that's a big part of it. There's a lot of variability in this game, though, which is nice. So it is not a solvable game, but it is a game where your strategies are going to be fairly hemmed in. Like, you're not going to be able to say, well, this game I'm going to focus heavily on this particular strategy. This game I'm going to focus on that particular strategy. This is a very tactical game, but there are strategic elements, especially setting yourself up to be tactically successful. And it is very nice that each of the player boards have different things on them, which ultimately will drastically change what you can do. And that is really cool. The buildings that come out that are very different is very cool. Changes that feel heavily. And they did some nice things with some small stuff. For instance, those barges, because you have to slide the guys over, they actually fit into the board. The board has little punch outs, and so they stay still. And that is a nice little touch. Keeps from being kind of fiddly and obnoxious with things falling off while you're taking them in and out. And I appreciate that. Overall, the game is very well done. It's very good for what it is. And especially if you don't have a mature collection of Euros and you like Euros, this is a great one for your collection. I could definitely see myself holding on to this one for a very long time because I enjoy the experience so much. And because I feel like once you get the hang of the game, you'll kind of know how to play it for a while. There's not a lot of gotcha things. The player aids are quite well done, which I really appreciate. They tell you the overview quite well, and then they tell you the actions really well. And yeah, not everything is listed here, but a lot of it is, which makes it very easy to understand what you're doing and remember how to play the game if it's been a while. And the solo player aid is great. There's not a lot of times you're going to refer to it, but just from the standpoint that it's there, it tells you what to do. It makes you remember you're not going to forget anything specific, and it gives you the priority of different things and the setups for each of the rounds. Because if you're not playing on easy, if you're playing on different ones, the cards and their deck construction changes from what they might draw. So lots of good stuff here. Honestly, nothing groundbreaking whatsoever. If you're looking for some major things that are going to blow your socks off, if you have a mature collection, I don't think this is going to be that kind of game. However, if you're looking for a game that does the solo well, that is a great medium weight Euro game that provides a lot of the enjoyment of Euro things, this is a very good and very fun game. So thanks so much for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it. Whatever you do in the future, I really hope you have a fantastic time doing it. Take it easy.